3, 2, 1, go. Ladies and gentlemen, it has begun.
It's 10 rounds of 8 ground to overhead, 95 for the men, 65 for the women, then 10 bar facing burpees. This is round number 1 for both of the athletes. 15-minute time count.
What I really like to see right off the bat is the pace at which they came out. We said this was going to be fast, it's going to be dirty, but both Scott and Rich were actually doing a small power snatch. That means they're getting underneath the barbell at the top of the lift, as opposed to what I'm 100% sure what Travis Williams will be doing is a muscle snatch with zero technique. But this is not a really technique-dependent workout when you talk about the skill level. However, doing that power snatch and having that efficiency is going to pay off big towards the end rounds.
Both men now in round 2 of 10. We'll try to keep you updated on how much time has expired here in the event. Again, it's a 15-minute time cap. There's your game clock through now minute 11 and counting as Rich Froning and Scott Panchik going head-to-head. I think this is the first time we've seen Rich in an open announcement since 2015 when he went head-to-head with Matt Fraser, and that was in Boston.
It's been a while, and you know, something unique to this open announcement for both Rich and Scott is that these actually don't matter for them in terms of what they're doing this year. So, you know, going team, you don't qualify through the open anymore. You have to do it through a sanctioned event. But it's good to see Rich out there, especially with his new teammate Scott Panchik. But what I've noticed is that it's a little bit more of a conservative pace for these athletes than I thought I would see in the first couple of rounds. And I think you got to take notes when it comes to that, because like Margot said, 100 bar facing burpees. How about 80 snatches at 95 pounds? That's a big volume number for that weight.
Scott Panchik starting round 3 of 10, just ahead of Rich Froning as he gets to work on his third set of 8 ground to overhead with that 95-pound barbell. And now it's his third set of 10 bar facing burpees. So far it's Froning and Panchik neck and neck. And I mentioned this really quickly before we got into the event, but you were there again in 2014, and everyone, if you were a fan at that time, remembers the finish that these two had on their final burpee, jumping over onto the finish mat.
And it was Scott Panchik that actually ran Rich down when it was the bar facing burpees. It was strict handstand push-ups, front squats, and bar facing burpees, descending all the way down to 3 repetitions. But Scott's advantage for me in terms of his physical talent is the burpees. If you look at him on this next round of snatches, Scott's efficiency versus Rich Froning's efficiency on the barbell, it will add up as it moves on. Now, Scott has a 1-rep lead on Rich. Just look at the technique style. Rich has a very quick speed through the middle and lockout, where Scott has a bit more of that pull and push of the lockout. When we're talking about 80 reps at 95 pounds, I would like to see what that looks like in rounds 8, 9, and 10.
This is the 4th of 10 rounds, and both athletes are through their 8 ground to overhead. And as you heard Adrian Boston say, if they hit any part of the barbell on the burpee, they have to do the whole thing over. It's not like they have to redo the jump.
Exactly. That's a big change this year, because if you hit the bar, you either pretended that it didn't hit the bar and kept doing burpees, or this time that extra burpee you did, now you have to do the complete thing and not the jump over.
Panchik and Froning neck and neck as they are now in round 5 of 10. Back to the barbell for 8 ground to overhead. 3 minutes, 30 seconds gone by, 15-minute time cap.
That wide stance that Scott has with his feet, and that's giving him the ability to not having to waste time moving his feet from start to finish in terms of the repetition. Rich is the same way, but he always has a traditional narrow stance when it comes to his lifting.
Panchik is done with that 5th set of 8 first, just slightly ahead of Rich Froning, but this was basically the case in the last round, and Froning was able to catch him on the burpees as the two are still neck and neck as we are now through 4 of the 15 minutes in this 10-round workout.
Hey, think about the caliber of athletes trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games out of the Open, because that is now what the Open stands for. It stands for the top 20 worldwide overall international champions. When you're talking about those caliber of athletes, it's not the snatches that's going to separate the two. It is going to be the burpees. They just take longer to do, and they're more demanding on the body.
As Panchik is now starting round 6, and he's opened up a little bit of a lead on Rich Froning. 6 of 10 rounds for Panchik. Now Panchik has got a good chunk of that set of 8 done, and now Froning just on the right of your screen, you can see his barbell moving, getting to the barbell after Panchik. Now Scott Panchik with a lead, a good lead here in round 6.
Now Rich's bar is moving, but it's also moving very well counter to what Scott's is. Now Scott's isn't moving bad. It's just, you know, when you're standing next to Rich Froning, what are you supposed to say? The thing that Scott's making his hay on is these burpees over the bar. Now, the one difference between that last set, though Scott got about a 7-rep lead on Rich, is that Rich stopped the chalk to get set for his snatches. Scott hasn't done that yet, and it's going to come unless those sweatbands are serving their purpose like they should be. But it's Texas, it's hot, it's getting sweaty, so Scott might lose time if he ever has to go back to the chalk like Rich did.
Scott Panchik now into round 7 of 10 as we approach the 5.5-minute mark, so neither one of these men are even going to be remotely in danger of getting time cap. That time cap again is 15 minutes. And now Froning getting started on his 7th round. So Panchik maintaining his lead here in round 7. Panchik now to his 7th set of 10 bar-facing burpees. When he's done, he will have completed 70 of these. We're not even done yet.
And it's only been 6 minutes when you're looking at the clock. And this is, like I said before, if you want to win the event or you want to do the best you can, it's going to be during the burpees. You want to be smooth and efficient on your bar. And listen, they're doing power snatches. You can do clean and jerks. If this weight is too heavy for you to muscle snatch or power snatch, if you hang on to the bar at least and never put it down, clean and jerks is an easier movement to do. So when it comes down to the burpees and you're getting tired, don't be afraid to switch it over to that other movement.
Yeah. We're into round 8 number now as Scott Panchik still maintaining that lead over Rich Froning. Froning has just finished round 7, chalking his hands, and he'll get to the barbell to start his 8th set of 8 ground to overhead as Scott Panchik has basically been on the same pace throughout this entire workout, and now his 8th set of 10 bar-facing burpees, approaching the 7-minute mark, so not even halfway to the time cap yet.
The one thing I do like that they brought back, they had gotten rid of about 2 years ago, is the step up from the bottom of the burpee. You have no idea how much easier that makes the movement a huge difference. Do. And so being able to lay down and step up from the bottom, a lot of people don't know how to do actually that technique. It seems very simple when you look at it, and it is. But the technique, if you look at Scott on the left, is to hit your chest to the floor and step towards the bar right from the bottom, as opposed to try to jump up and then step.
2 rounds remain for Scott Panchik. He's now in round 9 of 10. And he grabbed this lead in round 6, and he's been able to maintain it so far. Is it really wise to beat your boss?
Well, I mean, no. Short answer.
CrossFit Mayhem may be looking for another teammate after this event.
Like, congratulations, I'll see you never.
Panchik into his 9th round of burpees as Rich Froning is still on the barbell here in round number 9 as we now have 8 minutes past. 20.1. Panchik looking to close out round number 9, 5 reps to go. Adrian Bosman on the left of your screen, his judge.
And Sean, like you were saying earlier, it's just the tempo of Scott Panchik. It's not a manic pace, it's not a sprint. Rich is still moving very well. When we're talking about 100 burpees, that's when halves of seconds matter. You put that all together, that's a 30, 45-second advantage by just moving a little faster on the burpees.
Final round for Scott Panchik as he looks to take home bragging rights over his teammate Rich Froning, as the two of them will be half of the CrossFit Mayhem team that will look to win yet another CrossFit Games championship where they eventually get themselves to Madison. 10 more burpees remain for Scott Panchik. Panchik can see the finish line now as Rich Froning is on the barbell for round 10. 1 for Panchik, and he's going to take 20.1.
Sean, I am sweating profusely out of the nervousness that I now feel after watching this event.
Do you think they're both driving home together?
It's either that or, I tell you what, if the guys had to do it, guess what the girls are going to be doing on Friday?
Yeah, exactly. Rich Froning looking to close things out as he's trying to get inside of 10 minutes. Again, it was a 15-minute time cap, 10 rounds, 8 ground to overhead. at 95 pounds for the men, 65 for the women, and 10 bar-facing burpees. You don't see this a lot right here. Someone cheering Rich Froning through a workout. And now Froning is done. So competitors no more. They are now teammates from here on out. But 20.1, if that's what these guys are feeling going through it, imagine what the rest of us are going to be feeling like.
I wish that time cap was 5 minutes slower. That's what I wish.
Less suffering. So Scott Panchik and Rich Froning, I think, giving the crowd a good battle here. Now discussing some strategy, but it was Panchik, again, who grabbed that lead in round 6.